Hey guys, I'm the 50s Kid. This is a 2001 Nissan Altima. It's got a noise coming from the front wheels. The interesting thing is when you're driving around, it sounds like the noise is coming from the passenger side, but I happen to know that it's actually coming from the driver's side. It's kind of a weird sort of audible illusion, if you will. So, you know, when I put the car up on jack stands and examined things a little while ago, I was able to see that the driver's side front CV axle, the outer CV boot is actually torn on it. And when those CV boots tear, they actually allow contamination to get in, and it kind of degrades the universal joint and eventually makes it start making noise, particularly when you're cornering, when you're turning a corner. If it gets really bad, you know, it'll start to make some noise when you're going straight ahead. Anyway, this is making noise both when cornering and when going straight ahead, and it's pretty annoying. So what I did was I bought a remanufactured axle. They're just so cheap, you know. It was like 50 bucks to get a remanufactured one. So I bought that. We're gonna throw it on the car. It's actually pretty easy, so let's get started. Well, here's a little view of the torn CV axle boot, as you see. So first things first, we gotta get this cotter pin out of here. The axle nut is a 36 millimeter. I'm gonna bang on the end of the axle here to see if I can loosen it up, but I don't want to mushroom it out if I don't have to. And one of the easy ways to help prevent that is to put the axle nut back on backwards like that. That way you are mushrooming out the back or the bottom of it, not the front end. So that's loose. Yay, California. Oh, this kind of thing does not matter, but I still want it. Haha. So I got another cotter pin to remove right here, and it's gonna be a little awkward from the angle I'm at, but should be able to get it done. Got these two tabs that are bent around the sides here. I hit that nut with a little penetrating lube. So the only choice I have for this is a 22 mil long handled wrench. Long is good. But I didn't need much. It's coming loose already. Hey, look at that. That was nice and easy. Wow. Did not think it would be that easy. Will this actually come out? I don't think it will. I don't think there's enough clearance for the nut to come off. So I think I'll just leave it on a couple of threads. Make sure I'm not cross-threading this thing. Yeah, okay. Leave it on a couple of threads like that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the thing that the ball joint is going through, which is this right here. And that'll separate the ball joint, and I'll be able to get this free. You gotta get your biggest hammer that you have. Okay, we are loose. Good. Yeah, for some reason this thing was just at the weirdest angle. Okay, So there's our nut. We'll save that. So the issue I'm having is this doesn't really want to bend down very easily. It wants to spring back. And the reason it wants to do that is because it's attached to the sway bar right here through this sway bar link. And the sway bar is spring steel, so it wants to spring back up every time if I try to press this down. When I try to press this down, this is springing it back up. So I want to detach it right here. I think easiest thing will be to take this nut off, and that way this can just be loose and it can just drop down. You'll have to forgive the camera angles today. Kind of doing this quick and dirty. So this is a 14. All right, let's see if we've got enough give now. Yeah, okay. So now I can get this loose and pull, and there we go, axle free. Okay, so this is the other end of the axle where it's going into the differential right here. So it's just held in with a Circlip on the inside. All you got to do is pry it out with a pry bar towards the outside, towards the wheel, and we just get the pry bar in there. Hopefully this one's not too long. It might be, but I just want to grab on the inside right here. Move my light, and I'm gonna just try to give it a pop. Yeah, I am just in the wrong spot. Let's get this, see if we can turn this a little bit. There you go. You gotta whack it somewhat hard, you know, you gotta get it to pull out of there. So now just pull this free, hopefully nothing leaks out. I don't think it's going to, so that's really nice. So, old axle, new remanufactured axle. It's just a good idea to compare them, make sure you got the wrong part. Obviously, you'll notice that this one has this right here, old one doesn't. I don't think that actually matters. Just want to compare the length. This kind of is a little springy here, so I've been pushing in and pulling out and comparing, and they are basically the same length. What I've noticed is that the old axle actually has these this cup on this end, which they didn't put back on this axle, and this one has a cup out here too. I don't even really know what it is. I think here is actually where the ABS ring would go if you had ABS. This car doesn't have ABS. This is the only part I'm concerned about. This right here, I don't know if this performs any kind of dust sealing or you know, like secondary oil sealing maybe. I don't think it does. I think it's maybe just kind of maybe a splash shield or something. But I don't think that this is something that I'll be able to pry off without damaging it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pop this axle in without it and hope for the best there. So by the way, this is that Circlip that I was talking about that actually holds the axle in. You can see obviously that it's here, this is the best way to see it. You can see that it squeezes closed, right? It's got this gap in the end right there. So when it squeezes closed, that's when you'll be able to actually pull the axle out. And that's why you actually need to pop it with a pry bar like I did, because that causes this ring to compress, and then you can actually pull it out. So that's what that is. I'm gonna throw a little bit of lube on the end of this thing so that it slips in easier. Pull the wheel up out of the way. Get my axle in here. It is super annoying with the wheel in the way. You kind of have to hold it up out of the way. Okay, so I've got the whole wheel just wired up out of the way over this way. I've just got it wired back to my jack stand behind here. But you can probably find a spot on the suspension you can just wire it to back here. So now I got, you know, free rein to sort of slip this axle in. I've already slipped it in to the transmission there. I believe it's in. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to straighten it out best I can, because I'm going to tap on the end of it and I want to tap it into the transmission. And there we go. Okay, good. I'm going to unwire this now. Slip the new axle through the wheel. And I'm gonna pop the ball joint back in at the same time. At the same time I'm pushing this back. Oh, we just got cocked at a weird angle here. Okay, work that through. Work the ball joint back up and in. There. We had this washer and there's a new axle nut. Yeah, before I tighten that up, let's work on the, let's get that ball joint completely in and done. Okay, get this nut back on. There's no point in me giving you a torque spec for this because you can't fit a torque wrench on here unless you have a 22 millimeter claw foot. All right, that feels pretty good. Can't forget to put the cotter pin back in. Extremely important for safety. So we got one, and now two. Two ends bent back. Cool. Okay. Put the rubber back on there. Washer and nut. The thing needs to be on there really tight. It's important that your cotter pins are straight. Maybe we should just go ahead and use the old axle nut because this one is sticking out slightly too far this way. So, screw it. forget how we were bent. I think it was, well, let's go 2 different ways. Why not? Need a bigger wrench. Or pliers. Okay. I'll clean off the brake rotor, which I made very dirty. Put the wheel back on, torque it, take it out for a test drive. So I just got back from the test drive. Everything's sounding good now. This procedure is pretty universal to any front wheel drive car that has McPherson struts. I hope it helped you out, and thanks a lot for watching.